Hello, this is Andrew Power. Welcome back. This is the third and final video in this series where I'm teaching you how you can improve your own life with a very rewarding career, helping others improve theirs, and that there is enormous opportunity available to you right now for helping many people and for you to get paid a very high level income for doing that. We've spoken about there's so many different areas of people who need help and that you can help when you know the methods I'm teaching you and I'm going to teach you. This could be fears and anxieties and personal problems like that. It could be trauma, it could be stress, it could be habits, it could be sports, it could be business, it could be past lives, past life regression, it could be children, it could be speech, sort of stuttering and stammering, it could be public speaking, physical ailments, pain and so on, sexual problems, weight loss, eating disorders, pregnancy, birth, and so many more, including things like memory, concentration, motivation, and so on. There are so many areas where people's thoughts influence their feelings, which influence their behavior, and when you know how to change that, then you become very valuable to people because they want the change that you can help them provide. And when you can do that, you can create a very nice income for yourself, which could be full-time, could be part-time, could be fitting around existing career or whatever you choose, and charge anything from kind of $50 to $250 an hour, pounds or dollars an hour, depending on where you live and how you choose to position yourself. And it's fairly easy to get clients in this range, $50 to $250 an hour. It's fairly easy depending on how much you put into it and how much you want to put into it. Now, some of the common questions I get asked are, well, what do I need before I can start the training? What qualifications do I need? What level of education do I need? Or what level of personal development do I need? Do I need to be a completely sorted, peaceful, happy guru to be able to do this? Or can anybody do this? The answer is actually, it's very surprisingly simple that yes, anybody can do this. Anybody can learn to do this. You do not need any prior qualification. You do not need to be any level of spiritual development or personal development. All you need is a desire to learn as much as you possibly can about this and to help people in the best way possible. That's all I'd say the desire is. I take people who have got no knowledge of the subject whatsoever and teach them how to be professional hypnotherapists and how to build a business around that and how to increase their own income and improve their own lives, starting from completely nothing over here to building right up to over here. And it's a very satisfying experience for me to see that begin to happen. So yeah, the simple answer is no pre-qualification, no pre-knowledge, no pre-training at all is required. Let's go to the other end of the scale. Once you've qualified, what do you get? What do you need? Well, let me tell you, this is a surprising answer too. In the UK, in Canada, in Australia, in New Zealand, and in most of the USA, then actually you don't need any formal qualification. You can just begin practicing hypnotherapy, which may be a bit of a shock to some people, but actually it's very liberating because it means you are not bound by many of the rules and regulations that many other people are. I don't suggest you do that, and I'll tell you what I do suggest in a little while. But let me just tell you that in the UK, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and Ireland as well, and most of the USA, you're completely free to set up and practice. The USA, there are some states where they have regulations and guidelines. I'll explain those in more detail. If you need to know that in more detail, please contact me. I'll tell you what they are and what you need to do to get around them. But there's always a way. Okay, there is always a way. So the opportunity is there. There are no barriers to you beginning to learn or train. There are no barriers once you qualify. What you need is a step-by-step plan to tell you and show you how to get there. And in a few moments, I'm going to give you exactly that. But first of all, there's one more thing I need to teach you. Okay, now let me just give you a little model of the mind to look at, which will help explain how hypnosis actually works, how we actually bring about those changes in people. Let's just say, some of you may have seen me draw this diagram before. This is an amended version of it. Let's just say the human mind is roughly like this, with like a conscious, aware part at the top, and the more unconscious inside. Now, as we go through life, we encounter different experiences, different events, and these come in and we process them and we store them inside as memories, as life experiences, so that the next time something comes along and it reminds us of one of these things, then we have some kind of reference for it. We know what it is, we know what to do. Otherwise, we'd have to learn every single thing all the time. Every object we look at, we'd have to learn it anew. So our minds are constantly receiving information, storing it or referencing it to what we know before, and then we have some kind of experience over here. Now, all of that is fine. It's great. If you walk into a room and you see a chair you've never seen before, you recognize the chair, you think, what is it? Oh, it's the chair, it's harmless. Yeah, I can sit on it, it's okay. What if we start introducing emotions into this? What if something gives us a nice kind of a nice happy emotion, a nice calm happy thing? Now when that comes in, then again the emotion with that will, the happy kind of emotion with that will be stored as well. So next time something similar comes along, says, what do you know about that? Well, again, it triggers here and we have a nice kind of happy calm experience because of it. What if it's a different kind of emotion? What if there's it's a threatening, spiky, something upsetting, something angry, for example, whatever it may be? Then that comes in, then we get the same idea stored here. The fear, the worry, the tension, whatever it is, gets stored inside as well. So when something similar comes along, what do we know about this? Ooh, over here, we then start getting the feelings that go with it. And that's what causes people to suddenly start feeling things they're not too sure where it comes from. It's because something has dipped inside. You see, most of this here, all of this, is pretty much unconscious. Someone here just has an incoming information here, something happens to be here. It influences how they think, feel, behave. Okay? Now, your mind isn't always going through every single memory every single time. That would be a little inefficient. What we have is a little reference section. Okay, it sits just about here. And this reference section is your beliefs, which we've spoken about. Your belief system. So your mind doesn't have to come inside actually and access all these. It just dips in here. What do I believe about this? And there could be many, many experiences in here that contribute to a belief system, or there could be one. Okay, but an intensely emotional experience here will contribute to a belief system just here, same as this one just here. So your mind actually is dipping into this bit, and all this is reinforced by these down here. Now, if it just stayed like that, that would be okay, because all we'd have to do is avoid these and go for these, and we'll be all right. The problem is it doesn't work like that, because something about what's going on inside of here with these beliefs causes us to, in a way, actively go and seek out experiences in alignment with these ideas. Right? Whatever your beliefs are, backed up by emotional experiences, you will just pull more of that into your life. You will make choices and decisions and actions to bring more of that into your life. Whether it's pure psychologically or whether it's what people nowadays call the law of attraction, I'll leave you to decide that. Let me just tell you, it just happens. However it happens, it happens. Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions will bring you into more and more experiences of a like nature. All right? This is another loop people get stuck in. Now, if someone tries to sort it out, usually it's someone over here, having a chat, like a therapy person, talking to this person here, trying to sort it out. Now, unless these bits change here, nothing's really going to change over here. As a hypnotherapist, as a hypnotist, as a hypnotherapist, you have the skill, the ability to interact with this person here and help this person come inside and change this, to change these bits here and to tap into these bits here. And there's several ways of doing that. Very briefly, it comes into two categories. One is kind of putting new ideas into someone's mind, new suggestions. That's why it's called suggestion hypnosis, hypnotic suggestion. You're suggesting new ideas, and there's many different ways of doing that. Directly, visualization, metaphor, and so on. Or we're taking this person inside here to find out what the cause is, so we can release these and set the person free, and that's called analytical hypnotherapy, analytical hypnosis, or hypnoanalysis. So there are many different kinds of hypnotherapy, but essentially what we're doing is you're helping this person tap into what the real cause is, to change their belief system here, so that when something comes over here, they have a different experience over here. And then when these are reduced inside, when this is cut down and reduced, then they stop attracting it. And they start attracting more of these. And if you eliminate that completely, you can't erase the memory, but if you can erase the emotion around it, so it just becomes a memory free of emotion, then it stops attracting, because there's less intensity of emotion to attract things. All right? And hypnosis, and the way I teach hypnosis, the methods I use are extremely effective at bringing this about. Sometimes very quickly, sometimes it takes a few sessions. It's not always an instant miracle. Sometimes you have to work up to a certain point. But when you tap into these and you have what's called an abreaction, then you have an extremely powerful cathartic effect, and these things come up and people just begin to change very, very quickly. And they feel very free, they feel very liberated. That's why I believe that these kind of hypnotic techniques are possibly the kindest, quickest, and most effective form of personal therapy available. And that's why when you know how to do this stuff and you practice and you get good at it, and it doesn't take long to get good, right? And you put your heart into it, and you put the work in, and you learn and you practice, and I'll tell you how you practice in a moment, and you start getting the results in people will flock to you. And you can build a very, very comfortable, satisfactory, successful business around that, if you like, helping others. Now, what you want to know is, how do we do it? How do we make it happen? And the various questions you have along the way to that. And that's what I'm going to come on to right now. Okay, so this is the plan. This is the plan to get you from where you are to where you would like to be, whatever that is. Whether you just want to learn this for personal interest, or to apply it to your existing career or existing situation, or just so you know how to deal with people differently, so you can look behind their behaviors and focus on their belief systems, and then have a much more direct, much more fulfilling interaction with people, and be able to enhance all the working relationships, all the friendships you have with people, really enhance that just by getting to know people better. Or whether you want to build a career out of it. It could be part-time, just a couple of hours a week if you want to. It could be one day a month. Or you could go full-time, which is what I've done for the past 22 years or so, and really just change your life very dramatically in that way. So the plan applies to pretty much all of those things. So let's just go through it step by step. So the first thing we need, of course, is to get some training. And there are many, many different types of training around. By going through some of the videos I've shown you previously, I did that because I wanted you to get a wide knowledge of the subject. You see, many people will teach you just one little bit. They'll teach you visualization, or pure hypnotic suggestion, or pure hypnoanalysis, which is where you're always going back in time for the source of problems, or just how to do metaphors, which is like storytelling. The problem with that is that not everybody's the same. Right? You can learn one thing in great detail, but it won't work with everybody. People have a habit of being very different and being rather unique. So my way has been to find a way that whoever walks into my door, whoever asks my help, that I can chat to them, I can listen to them, and I will know what to do. And that's what I teach my students. I say, look, you can get a book of scripts if you want to, and a lot of training will just have a book of scripts for you. Somebody's coming for confidence, you look at your confidence script. Somebody's coming for weight loss, you look at your weight loss script and you read it. Someone's coming for whatever it is, and you find a general script. And it's all right, it's okay, but it's a bit, it's Well, it's a bit blunt, should we say. It can be brilliant, can be, but not all the time. So on my training, I use scripts when I'm teaching people to start with, but pretty soon we get rid of them so that everything is done purely spontaneously by taking information from the client and feeding it back to the client. And that's the way I like to teach people, because then you can be prepared to work with anybody wherever you are, and you can know exactly what to do without messing up. Okay, that's a worry people have. What if I make a mistake? What if I make things worse? As long as you follow certain guidelines, you can't make things worse. Okay, as long as I will tell you what to do to guarantee that doesn't happen. So training is important. You can go to classroom classes. I have a classroom school in the UK here. Nowadays, you can do it through distance learning. You can do it online. And my new training course, which I would tell you about, is purely online based. The question people have is, can you seriously learn online? Can you seriously do that? Well, let me show you something. When I first started 22 years ago, I did a distance learning course. That's how I started. I got a wedge of paper like this and one of these. Remember these? Little audio cassette. Every 2 weeks, a wedge of paper and a cassette came in the post, in the mail, and I devoured it. I read it again and again and again, and I listened again and again and again, and I just followed it exactly to the letter. And that is how I started. Once I got that information, then I went for some private sessions for hypnotherapy on myself. And that way I learnt directly, having it done to me. I thought, oh, this is how it feels like. And that's how I learnt myself. And then once I got that grounding and I started working with some clients, then I booked onto a few little one-day workshops here and there just to fine-tune some things. But I started with a bit of paper and some cassettes. Now, if I can do it with that, I know that you can do it with me teaching like this, with the internet facilities available nowadays, with videos, with demonstrations. I'll be able to demonstrate with people. I'll be able to record sessions. I can put MP3s of sessions up. We can have online forums, chat forums, Skype sessions. All of that I'll go through in more detail, but you know, that's how I started. Nowadays I can do it so much more efficiently and show you how to practice, so you get all the practice, and show you how to transform that practice from working with practice students onto real clients. So the training is very important, but it needs to give you a good solid practical basis as well. Many courses apparently are very theory based. I got students coming on my training who said, look, we've had lots of theory, we've written loads of essays, right? But we didn't get much time to work with clients. So most of my training is on what theory do you need and how can you use that to work with people. That's the basic aim of it. And there are many ways of doing that. And I'll show you what that is. The training I'll speak about in more detail if that's something that interests you. But that's the kind of training you need. Something that gives you the confidence to work with any client, anywhere, in pretty much any situation. Okay? Whether it's a sports person about to go and do a major performance, or someone who's got 3 months to prepare for an event. Whether it's someone who's got a personal problem that has been troubling them for years and years, or whether someone just says, oh, I've got a tiny little habit I want to get rid of. Can you help me stop biting my nails? So we want to be able to do the whole thing. So that's the training I believe you deserve. So that's the training I like to deliver. Now, what you get at the end of the training is some kind of qualification. Now, as I mentioned, actually, in many places, most countries in the world, like the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, most of the USA, you don't actually need a qualification, right? Which is quite shocking to some people. I don't suggest you do that. I suggest you get one, okay? So the training needs to have some kind of qualification at the end of it. My own training, what I give is a diploma in professional hypnotherapy and hypnosis. Sometimes we can change the name of that to suit the local country if it needs a different one. The name doesn't matter too much. It's some kind of diploma, but sometimes the name needs to be changed a tiny bit. But it will be an internationally recognized qualification, and that's important because the next step is to get some kind of membership. Again, you don't have to have a membership, you don't need that, but membership of some kind of organization is very important. I'll tell you why. But first of all, let me give you some shocking news. There are no national organizations anywhere in the world. Right? There are no nationally accredited organizations. Every single organization is privately started or privately owned. However grand they may seem, the British Society of this, the National Guild of this, the American Guild of this, the Canadian Society of this, the Australian Foundation, every single one of those will have been founded by an individual person or group of people, and who got together to make an organization. None of them are statutory, none of them are government backed. So however grand an organization sounds, usually it comes from a certain training school. Somebody did some kind of training and they started off building an organization around it. That's how they tend to come about. Not always, but that's how they tend to come about. Or they're purely a business, a marketing business. Let me get a directory of these people and then I can market to them and they can become members. So just begin to be aware of that. They're brilliant societies, brilliant organizations, but they're all founded by individuals. Right? Now, what you want from an organization is to just be a member of a body, because clients and customers like to see that you're a member of something. So the online training I'm going to give will get you membership to an international organization, an internationally accredited organization. And that is important because you can put a membership of that on your website, on your business card, or whatever you need. But the main reason why it's important to get this is because then you can get this, you can get insurance. Okay? And insurance is very important. To the best of my knowledge, as on the day I record this, there has never been a successfully held claim against a hypnotherapist. No insurance company has ever had to pay out, ever, as far as I know, as I record this today. But you need it. Okay, especially if you live in a country where the legal system can be prone to challenging people. In the UK, we're not like that too much. Other countries, it's much more restricting. But having your insurance protects you. There's two types of insurance. There's your professional indemnity, which is the one regards the work you do, and there's some kind of public liability. In the UK, we call it public liability. In your country, it might be a different name. That means if somebody trips over your doorstep coming to see you, then it covers that. And if they have an injury, it covers it. So there's two types of insurance, and usually they're all wrapped in together. Insurance is usually fairly cheap. Because hypnotherapy has had no major payouts, it's very cheap. Somewhere in the region of £50, £50, £60 a year, something like that. In dollars, it might be about the same, maybe a little more, but that's the ballpark figure there. Membership to an organisation will typically cost you £50 to £100, $50 to $100 for a year. So this figure comes to £100, $100 or so, something like that. That gets you your membership and insurance, and those I do highly recommend. So once you've got the training, get qualified, membership and insurance, then essentially you can begin practicing, and you can get student insurance. So you can have student insurance to start practicing straight away if you want to, and charge a small little fee just to get the clients in. And then you transition over to full paying clients, and I teach you all about how to do that as well. But let's say you've gone through this, you've got the training, and you've got your membership, you've got your insurance. Then what you do is you have your launch. Okay, you need to launch your business. That's assuming you're doing it as a business. And that means obviously getting customers, paying customers. There are many different ways to do that. In my training, I go through that in a lot of detail to tell you how to get the customers. There are many different ways from Google advertising, paid advertising, Facebook advertising, giving free talks, and lots of business networks and so on. There are so many different ways to get clients, but you just got to start. All right. The scariest thing for people is just starting. So I also help you just get over that hurdle, just get started. And part of the training, the way I teach my students, is we do personal development within the training so that you're ready to do this. So you have the confidence to do that. So we transform you as we go through the training so that you feel ready for that. I don't know what other trainings do that. It's just something I think is really important. There's no point teaching you to do something if you can't then go and do it. So I put a lot of emphasis on helping people build the confidence in themselves to be able to do that. So you need that feeling of, yes, I can do this. Once you've done this, once you launch your business, then the nice bit comes in. This is where you get paid. and you just start getting paid again and again and again. So I've gone through some of the different ways in which you can, the amounts you can get paid in the areas you can cover. There are many different ways to get paid using hypnosis, hypnotherapy. It could be clients on an hourly basis. You know, if you saw 2 clients a week, that £50, $50, that's £100, $100 a week. That's £400 or £500 a month, dollars a month for a couple of hours a week. Not bad. That's okay. If you can charge more, you know, that could be double that. If you can work, you know, one day and see 6 or 7 people a week, suddenly that's £300 or £400, $300 or $400 a week possibly, which comes, you know, that's £1,000, £1,500 dollars a month for, you know, just a day's work. You could do 1 day a month if you wanted to. You could run a 1 day a month workshop, training course, where you teach people self-hypnosis, because you know, on all hypnosis training you should learn self-hypnosis too. You could teach people self-hypnosis. You could do group sessions, group stop smoking, group weight loss. Suddenly then you get 10 people paying £50, $50 for the day, people paying 100, suddenly you can earn £500, £1,000 dollars for the day. 10 people in a group do that once a month, and that's a nice little thing. You earn 1 day a month and you get a nice little income from it. The get paid bit really varies on depending on what your imagination is and what you want to do. Myself, just so you know, I'll be completely straight up, I work about 2.5 to 3 days a week with clients at the moment, and that gets me round about £7,000, £7,500 a month on average. That's about $10,000, $10,000, $11,000, $12,000, I think that's what the conversion rate is. That's 2.5 days 1 week, and the next week I do 3 days, so I alternate it ever so slightly. And I make, the average is around about somewhere between £7,000 to £8,000 a month from that, something like that. And for me, that's a nice income. I have other things. I have websites and trainings and stuff, but that's my hypnotherapy income comes from that. So that's what you can do. You can do more than that if you want to. If you work harder than I do, okay. You can do less than that. It's entirely up to you. But this is the plan that you need to follow to get there, and this can be surprisingly short. Surprisingly short. I don't recommend making it too short, because what you need is the practice. But the whole process can occur within 6 months or less. The online training I'm putting together is a 6-month course, because I think you need the practice in between each one to build up the confidence. You can start in much less than that if you want to. One of my students on my classroom training course is just starting giving some free classes at a local church, for example, and that's a great way to do it, or a local group, just to get the practice in, and that'll start, and she'll start picking up some clients from that. Maybe 1 or 2 may come and see her privately, and she'll charge just a little bit first of all to build her confidence and get used to accepting money. You know, if you've had a job and you're used to going to work and the money lands in your bank account every month, it's very different when you start seeing people and actually they have to give you the money at the end of the session. So there's all those kind of things to learn as well. So this is the plan, and I hope that's exciting to you. When I got into this years ago, it was tremendously exciting, and I still find it exciting. There's so many opportunities. Every day almost I think, gosh, that's another way I could do this, another thing I could do. The way of applying this and getting paid is limited by my time factor rather than opportunity. I have to decide what's the most efficient use of my time, what's the most fun thing to do, and you know, what's the most rewarding in many different ways, and then I focus on that. And I've suggested the idea of specializing, and you don't have to do that first of all, but a good way of deciding where to specialize is just something that interests you, something you find interesting, or something that's been an area of challenge in your own life, something you found difficult. You will actually be very good at helping others with once you go through this and know how to change it in yourself, because you'll have such amazing empathy with people. You'll know exactly what they're saying when they come to you, and you'll have amazing insight, and you'll be able to help them. So you don't need to be completely sorted out yourself. All you need is the desire to help people, determination to follow through a plan, and be able to follow some instructions which I'll give you step by step, and then you can have an amazingly successful business. And I'm going to give you an extra video telling you exactly how my online training will work. If you're interested in that, if you're interested in joining me, I'm going to send you one extra video to tell you exactly how my online training will work. and I'll go through all these things in much more detail and show you how you can get on board if you want to. So thank you so much. I hope you've really enjoyed these 3 videos to give you an insight into this world, and I'm really excited about the launch of my online training. You're in the early days with me with it, and it'll be fantastic. I put everything into what I do. So look out for another video from me on that. I'll tell you all about that. And any questions you have, again, just please leave a comment below any of this. Ask a question. I will answer any questions. But look out for one more message from me, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Thank you so much.